Welcome to the RV Voice. Another episode today is with Jayco RV, and today we're covering 2024 Jay Feathers, and we have two special guests with us today, two veterans in the RV world. We got Mark Lawson and John Fisher. Welcome. Hey. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let you guys talk about yourself, brag about yourself a little bit, and just show us your credibility. That's all I want to hear right now. So go for it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Jake. For sure. You want to go first, John?
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate being with you guys today. Again, my name's John Fisher. I'm the Director of Product Development for the Jayco Towable Lightweight. So that includes White Hawk, Jay Feather, and Micro. My 10-year anniversary at Jayco is coming up here in September, and I've been honored to work for the company. It's a absolutely great company to work for. Been in the industry about 18 years, started selling in the Northeast, and then I've been doing product development since about the 08, 09 timeframe, so about 15, 16 years. And again, just been blessed to be at Jayco for these last 10 years. Got a beautiful wife, 3 kids and 3 grandkids, and absolutely love them to death. And in spare time, I'm an Arizona guy, so we will vacate Indiana, head to Arizona as much as we can, do a lot of hiking and just hanging out. So I'll pass it over to Mark, but again, we're really appreciative to be here today.
Awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate you guys having us on. My name is Mark Lawson. I'm a regional sales manager. I cover the travel trailer products for all the Rocky Mountain states. So Montana, Idaho, all the way down to Arizona, New Mexico, do cover Nebraska as well, which Jake, you and I used to do business together there, obviously.
Yeah.
So little background of me is I've kind of grew up camping, and I also was around production my whole life because my parents worked in production as well. In fact, most of my adult family all worked in production. So that's actually where I got started in the business back in 08. Started in production, did that for a few years while I was also going to school full time, and then got an opportunity in sales. That was with a different company. I was with them for 10 years, and now I've been with Jayco for just a little over 7 years.
So you guys are what we call veterans.
Yeah, I guess you could pause that for sure. Yeah, I started when I was 18, so it's weird to hear that term for me. Maybe not for John, but but definitely, yeah.
Good stuff. Well, we got some good people here today, and we're talking about Jayco Jay Feather. I would like you guys to give us everything you need to know about a Jayco Jay Feather. You have your Jayco elevator pitch, you call it. Yep. I'd love to hear that, and then we'll dive into some Jay Feather specific.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll get started here. Honestly, there's a lot of things that we can talk about when it comes to Jayco Product. You probably don't have time for all of that. So we try to condense it to a few things so that it's easy to remember and kind of understand. It's a derivative of what we call our Jayco differences. It's 10 key features of a Jayco product, but, working shows a lot with you guys at different shows and our dealers, you have that customer that says, why would I buy a Jayco product over the competition? And the reality of it is, and John would know this, and you guys would know that, we could spend all day talking about Jayco product, but we just don't have that amount of time. So I came up with what's called the Jayco elevator pitch. Okay. And if you know the Jayco elevator pitch, the great thing is you essentially know all the Jayco product out there. We have the ability at Jayco, it's kind of unique that us regional sales managers, we don't just sell one brand, we sell multiple brands. So when I go out and visit dealerships, it's important that I make sure that I can cover all brands. And that's where this Jayco difference came from. And the elevator pitch is what I like to call common advantages, meaning it's common on all Jayco products. So if you know the feature, features on every Jayco product. And it's also a competitive advantage. For the most part, it's features that we offer that the competition does not. Okay, so it kind of sets us apart from the competition. And those 4 things are warranty, construction, safety, and design. Warranty, construction, safety, and design. I get in the habit when I'm out at dealerships, I say that probably 20 times, and I know it gets a bit annoying, but it's how we remember, right? Sometimes it's okay to be redundant and repetitive because that's how things stick. But everything hangs on the warranty at Jayco. It's what backs all of our product. It shows that we are committed to our product and that we're going to protect our customers longer than anyone in the competition or anyone in the industry, excuse me. So what it is, it's a 2-year limited warranty, covers anything from a manufacturer's defect for 2 years. And then we do have a 3-year structural. A lot of brands in the industry have a 3-year structural. So I'm going to talk more about our 2-year limited warranty and why that's important, because I know that let's say you have a first time buyer, they've never owned an RV before, and you say, hey, it's awesome. Jayco backs their product with the best warranty in the business. It's a 2-year warranty, right? To them, that might not mean a whole lot until you get them to really kind of understand how we actually camp and how we actually use these RVs, right? Because if you think about it, Jake, how often do you think someone who buys an RV camps in a given year?
15 days.
15 days. Yep. It's about right. They're usually going on 2 to 4 trips a year, sometimes maybe 4 to 8 trips, right? Depending on their schedule and how much time they have. But the reality of it is for most of the country, obviously it's a little different when you get down into Arizona and Texas. However, that family buyer, they still, once summer's over with, those kids have to go back to school. So they're still parking their RV somewhere. But most RVers, when the season starts to get cold is when they winterize their unit and they store it. And the reality of it is most RVs are stored outdoors, right? Out in the environment, in the elements, right? And it's going to sit after you use it, right? If you're going to use it 2 to 8 times, right? And then you're going to winterize it and you're going to store it, most likely they get stored outdoors. And then here's where the reality of the benefit of the warranty comes in, is that RV is going to sit all winter, not being used, right? And so where you really reap the benefits is the following year. So that's why we call 2 camping seasons, meaning you're covered during your first camping season. You're going to be able to store it. And then after it's sat all winter, not being used, next year when you're ready to go camping again, you have that peace of mind to know that you're still covered for a whole additional year. Sometimes you may be out of warranty if you just have a 1-year. If you just had a 1-year warranty, there's a good chance, say you bought it around Memorial Day and you're going to go camping again around Memorial Day. That first camping trip, you may already be out of warranty. So Jayco gives you that peace of mind to have that additional year. But let's say you have a couple weeks worth of warranty left. Hopefully there's nothing that needs to be fixed, right? But it's one of those things, after it's sat all winter, there might be a couple things that need to be fixed. And the great thing is, if you bought a Jayco product, you have that peace of mind to know, you don't have to rush and hurry up and get that to the dealership. In fact, if it's something minor, like a piece of trim or something that can allow you to continue camping, you can just camp throughout the season. And then towards the end in the fall, when you're done camping, you can then bring it into your local dealership and then have them service it at that time. But it really just gives you that peace of mind. So when we talk about warranty, I like to talk about 2 camping seasons, because it really puts that warranty into perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. And so any questions on that at all, Jake?
Yes. So the 2-year warranty, bumper to hitch, right? Bumper to tail. That's what I always say. And it's kind of, you guys do something interesting that not everyone does, is you won't, from what I understand, you won't put products within the camper that's not also covered for 2 years. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Correct. So you want to hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So it's one of those things that if a vendor wants to do business with us, they have to match our warranty. The other side of it too, that I didn't mention earlier, is that we will test any part or appliance that is going to go into a Jayco product. So not only do they have to match their warranty, it has to go through our testing to make sure that it passes our test before we put it into the product. But, it's probably about 3 months ago, I actually had a Whirlpool product in my house, and it was just a little bit older than 1 year. And I had a tech come out to fix it. And he said, hey, you should have bought your Whirlpool product through Jayco, because Whirlpool only has a 1-year warranty. But if you would have bought it through Jayco, they would have had to match that 2-year Jayco warranty. So you would have actually got an additional year's warranty. And I was like, you know what? I didn't even think about that. But that's just the reality of it. Like you said, is any product that goes into our product, any part, any appliance, that vendor that sells us that part must honor and match our warranty. Yeah.
See,
so
cool.
That is an accurate statement.
Yeah.
And that's not normal in the industry. Correct.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And just one other comment, for us to double that warranty, we really take pride in the materials that we use to build the best product out there, so we can honor that 2-year warranty. So all the materials, and like Mark mentioned, all the components that come in, they're validated through our R&D department. and we try to use the best materials. And that's why I'll always say with Jay Feather being an ultra lightweight product, we're always going to be a little bit heavier and maybe even cost a little bit more than the competition, but that's on purpose. And it's because we build them right and build them to last around that 2-year warranty.
Absolutely. That's really cool because it's the appliances. You might have a 3-year warranty on a microwave, but you have a 1 year on the dishwasher if there's a dishwasher. And then maybe the stove only got a 1 year. So it's like, but there's a packet of stuff you get in the RV. You got to go through that, and it's just a mess of things. So everything matched the 2-year is super cool.
Yeah. And the other reality of that too, just kind of thinking through it a little bit, is like, let's say there's a vendor that they do have, let's say, a 2-year warranty on their microwave for everybody, right? The nice thing about that is all of your warranty will be done directly through Jayco, because for most of our competition that has a 1 year, that microwave has a 2 year. So outside of that 1 year, that manufacturer is not going to help you get that covered under warranty. They're going to direct you to that vendor, while as Jayco is going to cover you and handle that for you as long as you're within your warranty period.
It's awesome.
And then, what John was alluding to was the next segment of the elevator pitch, which is construction, right? Everything ties into construction, right? How do we offer the best warranty in the business? Well, it's the way that we build our products. Okay. We take a lot of pride in how we build our products and the quality of our products and the testing of the products. John mentioned earlier, we have an R&D department, a real R&D department, research and development. And so we're actually testing these things and making sure they're going to hold up, because the reality of it is there was a slogan we had for a long time at Jayco, which is generations of family fun. And we know that if they don't have a good experience, they're not going to come back and buy another Jayco. So we want to make sure to not only think about what they're looking for when they're initially buying their RV, but also making sure that when they're actually camping, that it's functional for them as well. But from a construction feature standpoint, like what John was alluding to earlier, is like a lot of our competitors who use OSB, chipboard, particle board, I like to call beaver puke. We don't use those. We use real wood products, real lumber. We use plywood on our roofs and floors and our dinette bases and bunk bases and things like that. So it really comes down to the construction materials. And yes, plywood weighs more than OSB, and we're okay with that, right? We're okay with that. We're okay being a little heavier. We're okay being a little bit more money, because it's one of those, you kind of get what you pay for, right? And we've all heard that story, and we know that can be true. And so we don't want to be the cheapest. We don't want to be we don't want to sacrifice the quality of our builds to shave off a couple 100 pounds, but it's going to give you a better overall experience. From a construction standpoint, the key things that I like to point out, because there really is a lot of hidden value in Jayco that the customer's never going to be able to see, but I like to really focus on things they actually can see. Okay. And these are things we use on every Jayco product, from our single axle SLX all the way to our luxury pinnacles. So starting with all of our drawers. All of our drawers at Jayco are rated for 75 pounds. Okay. And they're stainless steel ball bearing drawer glides. And that's important because we do have competitors that use plastic drawer glides. And the question I ask to customers is that something you're looking at, right? Most likely they're not, right? They're not going to look at that, and they're not going to even notice that until they're actually out camping, right? Another thing, all of our cabinets, we use real wood cabinets. So, cabinetry, whether it's in residential or RVs, they're built with stiles, right? The cabinet fronts are built with stiles, and we use lumber core stiles, meaning there's real wood in the inside of those stiles. We do wrap it with paper. It's not a $200,000 motorhome where we're going to sand and stain the wood, right? But it is wrapped. And if you look in the inside of the cabinet where the two stiles come together, on the back side is where the pockets are, and that's where the screws go in. That's where you can really kind of touch, feel, and see the lumber in there. The other side, when it comes to cabinetry too, is we use hardwood frame cabinet doors on everything. And it is mortise and tenon, so it locks in place like a puzzle, just like our 5/8" tongue groove plywood floors. So our cabinets are definitely high quality cabinets for sure. I like to joke because competitors who don't use lumber core, they use MDF stiles. So I always ask the customer, because MDF is essentially like cardboard, right? So do you want cardboard cabinets or real wood cabinets? I think most of us know the answer to that question for sure. And again, going back to weight, yeah, we do tend to weigh 100 or 200 pounds heavier. Why? Well, it's real wood weighs more than cardboard. So, it's another area where we can add a little bit of weight. And then I love lifting up our bed bases, okay, because that's where you can really see the plywood, right? And then a lot of brands that use the beaver puke or the OSB, whatever you want to call it, you're going to really be able to see that underneath the mattress. Okay. So we like to showcase that off and show off the plywood. And then the last one is really jumping up and down in the shower floor. Okay. Shower floors are notorious in the RV industry for becoming soft over time because the way that we receive those shower bases is on the bottom of it, they have styrofoam that's glued to the bottom of it. And we use those as well. But if you don't reinforce that styrofoam over time, it's going to break down and become soft. And the problem is there's plumbing underneath there. Okay. So if you have plumbing and you have a soft floor, you're going to start stepping on your plumbing at some point, and then you're going to have leaks. So we reinforce it with plywood below that styrofoam, supported with vertical 2x4 studs. Okay, so we love to get in there and kind of jump up and down and show the durability of that product. And so those are a lot of the features on the inside. Another one that I like to point out on the outside is our galvanized steel wheel wells. And I think this is an area that gets overlooked quite a bit because, you know, some of our products like the Bajas, the smaller single axle J flights, where they're lifted, it's a little bit easier to see the galvanized steel underneath there. But most of our other products are a little harder to see, right? We have that nice wheel fender that we put in there, and really you got to stick your hand underneath there to be able to see it. And really, quite frankly, we need an outfitter or a salesperson at the dealership to kind of point that out, because the issue is if you don't protect your wheel wells, it's just the bottom of your floor being exposed there. Okay, it's just the wrap that they wrap the bottom of the floors, and if you don't protect it, then over time you're having road debris kicking off those tires. Whether it's just going down the road, just normal road debris, or you're going off the beaten path, you're out west, you're getting into the mountains and you have rocks and stuff kicking off those tires, over time, it's going to create an issue for you, right? And it could cut a hole in that material, and you could have critters getting in there. It's obviously certainly not good for heating as well, right? So yeah, that's why we do the galvanized steel wheel wells. The other side of it too is we give you the best tires in the business, Goodyear Endurance tires on most of our products, okay? But you may hit a pothole, right? You may run over a screw. So there's still always that chance that you could have a blowout, and galvanized steel wheel wells also protect from blowouts, because blowouts are high impact, right? And if you don't have protection, it could destroy your wall and floors. So it's just those little things that we don't always think about, right? Until we have to think about it, because we ran into an issue and we're like, oh, wow, didn't even realize they had that, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
We do have some testimony that would get into some of that stuff today as well.
And a tire blowout, if you haven't seen it, I'll drop a photo on here later, but it really tears up the side of a trailer. It's not good.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So we've actually been getting some really cool testimony lately from some customers on some stuff that I'll be sharing with you guys today, which kind of ties right into the next segment. If you're okay with me jumping into that right now, Jake, unless you had some questions. Okay.
Nope.
All right. Good. So the next one is safety. And I don't talk about it. We get started talking about, testimony. Yeah. So, we get a lot of testimony from customers, and, it kind of falls right into when, my safety part of the elevator pitch, right? Warranty, construction, safety, design. And I think safety is important. And we don't talk about safety to scare the customer, but we know there's a lot of first-time buyers coming into the industry, right? They have questions, they have concerns. And so these safety features are going to help put their mind at ease, right? Like their biggest fear, Jake, do you know the biggest fear a RVer has when it comes to buying an RV, especially a first-time buyer?
Being able to tow it?
Exactly. Towing this thing down the road, right? So there's a lot of things that we do differently at Jayco from a safety perspective to help keep them and their family safe. And it's really going to help put their, that first time buyer's mind at ease. Okay. And we actually have a lot of testimony. And recently we've gotten a lot more testimony from customers that I'd like to share with you right now, if you're okay with that. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into our Magnum Truss roof system. Okay. And our Magnum Truss roof system is something that we've offered and built on our products for a long time. In fact, I really don't know how far back it goes, but it's been there way before I started at Jayco. So we've been doing it for a long time. And what it is all of our roofs are rated for 4,500 pounds. Okay. So they're the strongest roofs in our RV industry, And, a lot of roofs are rated for 2,000, 2,500 pounds, and ours are rated for 4,500. Now, I have heard the competition say, why do you need a roof rated for 4,500 pounds? It's a bit overkill, right? Well, maybe, unless you understand why it's important, right? There's 3 reasons you want a strong roof, right? It's maintenance, your RV is only going to last as long as you maintain it, right? And you have a lot of seals up on that roof, and you have the sun beating on these seals, destroying it. And you need to get up there. It's pretty easy to maintain. It's not hard, but you do got to get up there and check every once in a while and make sure there's no cracks and voids. And if there is, you just get a little caulk and fill those voids in. It's pretty simple to do, but you also want to clean your roof as well. So having a strong roof allows you to have a walkable roof, right? So they can get up there. And another thing I always like to say is, like, what about when you're camping out in the mountains by trees and all these different things, and you have some debris or branches fall on the top of your slide roof, right?
Things happen.
You're gonna want to clean that slide roof off before you run that slide in, right? Because if you don't, you're gonna have some issues, right? It's gonna throw your slide out of alignment. It could puncture the rubber on your roof. It could mess your seals up. So it's important to get up there to maintain, but also just kind of to check for debris. Okay, another one is snow load, right? And this, we mentioned earlier that most RVers store their RVs outdoors, right? And so if you think about it, if it's stored outdoors and you got a good snowstorm that comes through and you have 4 or 5 foot of snow, I'm going to share my screen here and kind of show you a picture so you can get an idea what I'm talking about here. So let's see. I think it's this one here.
So if you guys don't know what 45 pounds look like, I could park a Jeep up there. I'm not gonna, but you could. I've seen the R&D of you guys putting all the weight on there. It's pretty sweet.
And while Mark's looking for that, we've had even in the last 3 weeks, we've had 2 testimonials from Jay Feather customers. One, unfortunately, all the tornadoes that ripped through the central U.S., it was in Arkansas. There was a large tree that came down on the bunk area of a Jay Feather, and it remained. Yeah, right here. Can you guys see that?
Oh my goodness. That's no small tree. Holy cow.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty big tree.
Yeah, and it remained intact. And then we've got, basically what the customer said. And then just absolutely recently, it was on the Jay Feather owners group. There was a retail customer that had a Jay Feather. It was basically on the highway and it flipped over. And it was maybe an 18 model Jay Feather. It was a Murphy bed, but she had 3 testimonials on there, just basically from the day it happened and the pictures that they took. And then saying, like, the guy that came to the accident to tow this thing away said, I can't even believe it. He said, most RVs that I ever come to get are in 1 million pieces. And there's been a few times where I've had to go get Jayco, a Jayco unit, and they're always intact. Wow. And this gal went on to say that the unit was going to be totaled because of the damage to the corner of the unit. But overall, it was structurally maintained. Her slide out worked. All the interior cabinets, everything was good. And she just couldn't believe it. And she said it's just an absolute testimonial to the way Jayco builds their units. And we have so many of these testimonials, and it from a product development standpoint, and I can speak for our sales guys too, when we hear these things, they're unfortunate, but where safety becomes so important when something like that happens to you. And our campers maintain their structural integrity to protect the family. So yeah, it's a super serious thing to us here, that we're going to build the best unit out there. And I can't say that enough. And a lot of these testimonials will point to that.
Yeah. It's good marketing for you guys, as long as everyone's okay. That's awesome.
Yeah. For sure.
But that picture, that was no small tree. I've seen the one that we used, Mark, for a long time. There was an older unit, 15 or 16 or something like that. It was a back end where it kind of smashed the corner.
Correct.
This one, that's the whole dang roof.
Yeah, were you talking about this one right here, probably, Jake?
Yeah, the bottom. Yep.
So you see there where that tree came down on it, and then also you got one right here that was in Arizona in 2022 where it was flipped upside down. Another one down here. I will say, full disclosure is, the reality of it is we can't promise you that a big tree will not penetrate our roof, right? Because there's big trees out there and they're heavy. Okay.
For sure.
But what I always say is it's less likely in a Jayco than the competition because our roofs are twice as strong, right? They're
But
not
it's not
storm
just
shelters.
it's not
What's
just the
that?
roof. I mean, it's the wall, wall structure and everything plays
Correct.
into holding this tree up.
Correct. Exactly. It's the overall structure and the way that we build our Jayco product. And I think you guys can see my screen. And I know we were talking about, because we get testimony all the time and we really like to share ones that are more recent. And this one we just recently got. But if you don't mind, Jake, would you mind allowing me to read the message that Alan had sent in to us?
By all
Because
means.
I think it's important to understand why the Magnum Trust roof system is so important, because I think a lot of times we just think, oh, that's just a marketing thing, right? And this is what this customer thought. So I'm going to read it quickly, okay? But I think you'll understand why it's important. So it says, Jayco, thank you for building a strong roofing system. With skepticism, I read the advertisement for the Magnum roofing system, but blew it off as marketing hype. Early this past Sunday morning, while camping in Northwest Arkansas, we had a tornado pass by and a large tree landed on the roof and slide of the RV. We were not in the RV at the time as we fled the campground to get out of the path of the storm. We would have survived, though, if we would have stayed due to the slide and roof holding up that tree. Now, like I said, full disclaimer, this is not storm shelter, okay? So I would always recommend seek shelter in case of a storm, right? But I'm just reading the testimony from the customer, okay? And she said, we were blessed to be hired by a crew hired by the Corps of Engineers campground to saw the tree off the trailer. With only minor adjustments to the slide, I was able to get it pulled out to tow the trailer home later that day. I'd love to send you pictures. Got to go through the insurance claims. Thanks again for living up to your advertisement and claim. I think it's important to go back to there in the beginning where it says, with skepticism, I read the advertisement for Magnum Trust roof system, but blew it off as marketing hype. Okay. That's directly from our customer. And I think that really gets to the point and hits home on why it's important to have a strong roof. Okay. Obviously snow load. The other thing about it is, and I have a great snow load picture, but it's not pulling up for some reason, but the reality of it is snow is heavy. Okay. If you think about if you have 4 or 5 foot of snow across the length of a roof, right? If that roof is not strong enough, it's going to create deflection in that roof. Okay. Problem with that is when you have deflection in your roof, you're going to crack your seals. And then when your snow melts, guess what? You have water in your roof. Okay. So it's really important for those 3 major reasons, right? Maintenance, snow load, and safety. Okay. Another big safety thing that we do at Jayco is called our strong foundations. Okay. We design all of our frames in-house. We have real engineers at Jayco. We have electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, okay, and we do design our frames in-house. We do some unique things to our frames because we have the ability to design them. And the big one that I'm going to touch on right now, because we do use more cross members, we use more outriggers, and all those things are important, right? But the big one that is really easy to see on the lot is what's called the integrated A-frame. Okay, so what I like to say is that your whole RV on wheels is pulled down the road from your A-frame. Okay, meaning the welds from your A-frame to the chassis itself is pulling that unit down the road, the welds on that A-frame. On most RVs in this industry, what they do is they tack weld that A-frame to the bottom of the chassis. Okay, and that's fine. Okay, as long as you don't ever overload your pass-through storage. Okay, because if you overload it and put too much weight above the axles, there's a chance that you could have some issues where your A-frame could snap off going down the road. And it's not common, okay? It's really not common, but we have seen it before. So what the integrated A-frame does is it goes through the front plate and it integrates that A-frame into the chassis itself versus just being tack welded to the bottom to prevent that from ever snapping off going down the road. Because, I always say, how many of our customers know how much weight they can put in their pass-through, right? A lot of them don't. And for the ones that do, I always say, how many of you bring scales with you when you go camping to weigh the cargo that you put in your pass-through, right? I venture to say not very many. I mean, I'm sure there are some, but most don't, as we know. So what it's going to do is just going to prevent that from having any issues with those welds, because what's the most important part of your house? The foundation, right? A little more important, a home on wheels that goes down the road. Okay. So we believe in a strong foundation at Jayco. I mentioned we have more cross members and more outriggers. Outriggers are what's attached to the side rail. It supports your walls and the floors are lagged to it, but the more steel you have in your chassis, the more weight you're going to have, right? So we always like to point out, yes, we are a little bit heavier, but this is why. Okay. and it is a big safety thing. Another thing that we are really proud of is the Goodyear Endurance tire. Okay, we use the Goodyear Endurance tires on all of our Jayco travel trailers, minus our SLXs, which have Rainier tires, and those are good tires too. But the Goodyear Endurance tires, they're rated for 87 miles per hour. Okay, most RV tires are only rated to go 55 to 65. In no way am I encouraging you to drive 87 miles per hour. Okay, but I know the speed limits get up to 70. They get up to 80, especially out west. Okay, so at the very least, if you wanted to, you could at least do the speed limit, right? Do what you feel comfortable and feel safe, and be cautious of what's going on around you. If it's windy, okay, no way am I saying drive 87 miles per hour. I'm just saying those tires are designed for that. And what a lot of people don't know is Jayco actually helped design that Goodyear Endurance tire. Jayco and Goodyear kind of teamed up and worked together to design that tire. And we actually had an exclusivity on that Goodyear Endurance tire for the first 2 years of that product, meaning none of our competition could even use the Goodyear Endurance tire.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, and we're really proud of that because it put a better tire into the industry, right? And we really needed that. Not only is it the highest load rate and speed rated tire, it also has the best warranty in the tire business as well for the RV side of the business, meaning it has a 6-year prorated warranty. Most RV tires only have 3 to 5 years. So that's a really big safety feature that we're really proud of at Jayco, is that we help design that tire. We use it on all of our products, on not all, but most. Okay. On our SLXs, we do use what's called a Rainier tire. Okay, and it is better than most tires out there. It is rated for 81 miles per hour. Okay, it's still better than that 55 to 65, and it still has that 6-year prorated warranty, just like the Goodyear Endurance tire does. Okay, any questions on those tires at all?
No. Okay. Jay Feather has Goodyear Endurance.
They do,
yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sure does.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing, too, that we use on everything at Jayco is what's called self-adjusting electric brakes. Okay. So in the RV industry, we buy axles from essentially 2 suppliers, Lippert and Dexter. They both build really good axles, and they both do a really good job. But there's, an option within those axles for the braking system that you have to choose to opt in for, which is the self-adjusting electric brakes, right? So there are braking systems that don't have that, which is fine. Okay, it takes away the electrical component, meaning the brakes don't adjust on their own electronically. You're going to have those brakes adjusted every 3 to 6 months. Okay, so with ours, you have the peace of mind if it's a Jayco product that they're going to adjust electronically. And what I like to say is your brakes are going to always work at optimal performance. Okay, so yeah, that's on the braking side. Do you have something?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to go back to the strong foundations to make a point to our customers that'll be listening or watching this. When you're talking strong foundations and we talk about weighing a little bit more and costing a little bit more, the outriggers and cross members are super important because we usually have twice as many than our competition. Again, that adds a little bit of weight, adds a little bit of cost. But so the consumers understand, the actual floor is leg bolted to the outriggers. Yes, it sits on the main rails of the frame, but those outriggers that extend out, those are the attach points for the floor. And then those cross members provide support, along the whole length of the box. So all these testimonials that you see where not only we have our Magnum Truss roof system that, has the 4,500 pounds plus of strength, when we see these units flip over or they're twisted in some way, that's why the entire RV is staying intact, is because that foundation is secured on more outriggers along, and then the attach points with our walls up to our roof. We use the best materials and we just basically overbuild stuff. And there's been so many pictures of RVs where I've seen where they flipped over, and then like the towing guy that picked everything up says they're in a million pieces. That's why you're usually seeing Jayco's structurally sound in these situations. So just want to point that out because, like you said, it's not just the Magnum Truss roof system. There's a lot of things that we do in our construction process that provide, safety as well. So
it creates more rigidity overall is what it does. So you have more connection points, more rigidity, more the way you can vacuum unseal, You got more rigidity. You got more gusset plates on the trusses, more rigidity. It makes it just a stronger overall shell, all-encompassing shell. It's awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah, great point, guys. I got one more thing to touch on the safety side, and we'll jump into design. But the other thing that I like to talk about is, and this is really great, like we talked about that earlier, that first time buyer towing down the road. Okay. They have the ability to kind of see what's going on all the way around them, meaning we have side camera prep and rear view camera prep. Okay. So if they wanted to, they could purchase those cameras, have them on each side and behind them. So they're going to get 360-degree viewing to be able to see exactly what's going on the road, avoid some of those blind spots that you get when you're towing down the road, if you choose to purchase those cameras aftermarket. The other thing too that is unique for us is our taillights on the rear wall. Okay, we have a white lens in the center of those taillights, and they light up white when you're in reverse. Okay, that's just like a car, right? So it just allows people, like if you're camping and you're backing up, it's going to light up white and say, hey, I'm backing up, get out of the way. Also, they say that rear view camera will help save your marriage when you're trying to back into your campsite, right? Got to see what's going on instead of your spouse yelling at you and you're yelling back and forth. No, the other left. I mean, the other right.
Yeah, I get it. I grew up on a farm, so I understand how to back in a trailer. Not everybody does. So backup camera, big plus for people that don't know how to back up a trailer.
Exactly. I look like an expert now when I back up my truck, but I'm not really a good person at backing up vehicles. But because of the rear view camera, it makes it really easy for me. It makes me look like a pro.
Yeah, I overuse mine now. It's like dead on. I know where the lines are the outside of my tire perfectly. My Ford wasn't so much. My Jeep, money.
That's awesome. Yeah. For sure. Cool. So hey, the last thing I'm going to jump into on that Jayco elevator pitch is just touching on a few things that we do differently from a design perspective. Okay. So I'm going to start with Stacy Stewart. Okay. She's our interior designer, and she is a female interior designer. We think that's important because we know a lot of men, about half of men after the age of 40 are colorblind anyways. So we'd rather have a female designing them, because the reality of it too is what we know is a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, mom, wife, girlfriend, whatever it is, they're really picking out the decor and wanting to make sure that it's pretty. What we see is it's like dad's more of the nuts and bolts and how's it going to tow. Mom's more of is it pretty? Do I have room in the kitchen? Is there space for storage and things like that? So we think it's helpful and beneficial to have a female interior designer. Okay. 10 years ago, Jaycos were really outdated, right? Always built well, just really behind the trends. And I would say in this industry, and I think the whole industry, I'll give kudos to the whole RV industry. Everybody's done a really good job kind of catching up to the modern home trends. The industry used to lag a few years behind. Now we're only a year or two behind. So I think everyone's done a really good job with that. But I do really think that with Stacy's help, that some of our, not some of our, but all of our products stand really tall in terms of eye appeal in our product. Also, the unique thing about Stacy is that she owns a J Flight and she actually camps. Okay. And that's unique in the RV industry, right? I used to own a J Flight. Sales manager Dave Esch owns a J Flight. Our Matt Fisher, who does the product development for J Flight, he also owns a Jayco product as well. So we do have a lot of people on the team that actually go camping, and that helps us to think about things when you're actually out camping. So we're a big fan of Stacy and what she does for our product, not only from an eye appeal perspective, but a functionality perspective when you're actually out camping. Okay. And another thing I touch on is that we essentially eliminated carpet out of our coaches. Carpet is the biggest thing to age your trailer, right? Because what are we doing when we're camping? A lot of times we're out, we're out in the dirt, right? And we're tracking dirt and mud in, and it's hard to prevent that carpet from aging. So we've eliminated that out of our product. We think that, in fact, I'll tell you a little story. I bought my J Flight was a 2021 J Flight. Okay. And we switched to carpetless slides in 2022. I was telling my wife, hey, we're going to buy a J Flight. But at the same time, I was like, hey, I'm really excited because we're getting rid of carpet in our slides. Well, she assumed that's what was going to be in ours. So I brought it to the campsite, got it all set up, run the slides out, got it all leveled up, was super excited to have her walk into it for the first time. She came in, the very first thing she said was, I thought this wasn't going to have carpet. And she gets it. She knows, like, that's the hardest thing to keep cleaning an RV and outdate your trailer. So we're a big fan of that as well. We do have a lot of unique floor plans. We mentioned earlier we get to design our frames, right, and engineer our frames, so it gives us the ability to also design our own floor plans as well. That's really the last thing I had on the Jayco elevator pitch: warranty, construction, safety, design. And there's a lot of different things we do differently that have, featured benefits of each product segment, which John's going to get into a little bit. But that's a great core of what makes Jayco, outside of the fact that we mentioned earlier, Jayco's been around since 1968. We have, I would say, probably the highest tenured employees within the RV industry. One thing that's really cool that I think is unique to the industry is every month our HR department, they'll send out an anniversary email saying, here's all the people that are celebrating 5-year 5-year increments at being at Jayco, right? So like if they've been here for 23 years, they're not going to be on that list, right? But every month there's someone celebrating a 40-year anniversary, a 35-year anniversary, multiple 30 years and 25 years. And that makes a big difference in the quality of our product, right? Because if we are able to retain our employees, okay, and if we're able to take care of our employees and keep them happy, guess what that is a direct result of?
Better camper, better RV.
Quality of product, right? We have a lot of turnover. We're constantly having to retrain people on these on their job, and people want to work at Jayco. It's a unique place to work at. We just had our Jayco family company picnic a couple weeks ago. My family always looks forward to that. We have about 5,000 people that show up to that, maybe more actually. And they put on a really good company picnic for us. And they just do really cool stuff to show that they care. Our current slogan at Jayco is our product is our people. Okay. That's awesome. And they do truly mean that. So at the end of the day, if there's something that really makes Jayco different than everybody in the industry, in my opinion, it comes down to solely that, which is the fact that we have really good people that work at Jayco and people that care about what they do here.
And I'm talking to the best.
What's that?
I said, I'm talking to two of the best.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And I'll just, kind of, oops, did you have something come up there?
Yeah, it says it was going to restart my computer.
Wrap up a couple things while we're in design, because I know we've covered a lot on not only Jayco, but the Jay Feather today and the way they're built. But, year in and year out, we look at buying data, and floor plan is absolutely always the number one buying factor. So we take great pride. We have myself kind of leading the product development, but we have operations, engineering, purchasing, customer service that includes warranty. I mean, it's a whole group of people that spearhead the development of White Hawk, Jay Feather, and the Micro. But we take great pride in making sure we have a good arsenal of floor plans. So I know going into the 24 model year, one thing that we were lacking, that a lot of dealers and retail customers were telling us that we needed, was more smaller double axle trailers, which now, as we roll into model year 25, we've got a nice arsenal of smaller double axle trailers, the 19 MRK, the 21 MML, the 21 MBH, we've got the 23 RK. So we've kind of hit that, and we're having really great retail success with those floor plans and those smaller double axle models. Another important design criteria when we've got the floor plan, we've got it set, on the exterior front sidewall, the camp side, we got to take into consideration where entry doors and windows are, but we are always going to give our customers a max awning. So we're going to go as wide as we can. We know most of the time when you're camping, a lot of the family memories are made out under the awning. You want plenty of shade. A lot of our competition is going to lessen the awning size to save weight and cost, but we're going to maximize that awning size based on, again, where the windows, baggage doors, things like that are. And another thing is windows. Always pay attention to the window sizes, because a lot of our competition will put in the lightweight segment, will put smaller windows. Man, if we got a space, we're going to try to fill it up. so you have views around the campsite. And storage is also obviously important to every camper, whether it's exterior or interior. That's another key thing that we always look at in design is if it's the smallest cranny of space, we're going to try to open it up and give that storage space to the consumer instead of just boxing it off to make it easy. Which leads to another thing. So when we do design a floor plan, a lot of times we got to bury water heaters and water pumps and furnaces. And that's the things that you don't see that's built into maybe bed bases or cabinetry, things like that. Well, a lot of RV manufacturers will just, if they've got a furnace buried under a cabinet, they put an access panel with a couple of screws, and then they may have an open area. They'll put a couple cabinet doors in there. But before you know it, you walk in, and what's it look like? It looks very RV-ish. And we worked really hard going into 24 and even took it a step further as we roll into model year 25, where we have, when you walk into one of our models, it's going to look very residential. The cabinets are going to be aligned, the symmetry of the cabinets, a lot of times the female buys the coach. She's got to buy off on that. She's got that floor plan's got to work. That storage has got to be in there. The decor's got to hit. But these are some added things that Jayco has done over the course of the model year 24 is that cabinet alignment. So you may open up a door and there still might be a furnace buried with a couple screws to access underneath if you have to do some service, but we're covering that access panel up with full doors. And again, you'll pay attention to the symmetry of the cabinetry and things like that. So it's just a lot of little things that we did rolling into model year 24. And the retail sales are showing that we're having a strong retail year with Jay Feather, and we're really proud of that. And that comes from having a great, dealer base like Bish's RV. And then one other thing that I do want to hit on is as we roll into model year 25, which those units will be coming out here relatively soon. We have an exciting new product that we're going to offer now. Jay Feather Micro has been out for 2 or 3 model years. Nice off-road product. It's done really well, but we've also had the demand for more single axle 8 wide trailers. So the Micro's a 7.5, more off-grid type product. This is a more traditional single axle trailer that will complement Jay Feather, the double axle Jay Feather models. So we'll start out with 4 models. They're actually targeting lengths of 22 feet and under. So one of them will be around 22 feet. The other 3 will be 20 feet and under. We're trying to get those UVWs down so we can hit a lot of different tow vehicles. Construction, it'll be identical to Jay Feather, have a little bit different feature set. But yeah, this Jay Feather Air will be coming out, and we're really, really excited about it. So
yeah, that's super cool. So they're going to be single axle, correct? And they're going to be 7.5 or 8 foot wide.
8 wide.
That is a huge deal.
Yeah, it'll follow the footprint of Jay Feather today. It's just they'll be smaller single axle trailers to complement the smaller double axle trailers that we brought into the fold in model year 24.
Yeah, that 8 foot wide, it adds a lot of space, believe it or not. Like you walk into a 7 foot, you can feel it. And you walk into the 8 foot difference, you're like, oh, hey, it's not so bad. We can handle this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that the Jay Feather lineup works is that, you start with our smaller Jay Feather Micros, and those are 7.5 foot wide with independent rubber torsion axles. And then now we have the new offering of the single axle 8 foot wide, which is going to be a little bit bigger. And then you'll go into Feathers, which are all tandem axles, but we have small tandem axles all the way up to big 30-foot Feathers as well. And they're all on their Feather product. They're all laminated product, and they're all vacuum bonded laminated as well, which we believe is the superior way to laminate your walls in the RV industry.
Yeah, it really flattens out that glue between the spaces. Really.
Yeah, and the reality of it is essentially what vacuum bonding is if you take, let's just say this is your wall, right? And we do use Asdel on the interior and exterior of our laminated walls on all of our Feather product. But so you're going to have your interior wall board, okay? And then you have your, behind that, your interior wallboard, which we use as Asdel. Then you're going to have your aluminum framing, okay? In between the aluminum framing, you have dense block styrofoam. And then behind that, with our products, you're gonna have another layer of Asdel, and then you're gonna have your exterior fiberglass that you see on the outside. Okay. And we have glue in between all of those layers. And there's a few different things we do from a lamination perspective, but just to kind of keep it simple, I'm just gonna focus more on the process. A lot of brands use what's called pinch rolling. Okay. So just say the wall sandwich is the same. Most of them don't do Asdel for the interior wallboard. A lot of times it's just Luan. And if they do Asdel, it's on the exterior. We do it interior and exterior. But let's just say the wall sandwich is the same. There's glue in between all those layers. On a pinch roll process, what it does is you take that wall, you put it on a roller table, and it goes through two big rollers that squeezes that wall together. Okay. And it's a couple minute process for that wall to go through those rollers. Okay. Then hopefully the manufacturer chooses to let the floor sit for 24 hours and allow the glue to cure correctly before they build on it. Most manufacturers do that. Okay. But the unique thing about the way that we vacuum bond is the time of the process, as well as the extra element of the vacuum. So in our process, you take that same wall sandwich, if the material is all the same, you put it into our vacuum bonding machine. Okay. And it puts 144 tons of consistent pressure. Okay, earlier I said pinch rolling, it just goes through the rollers. It's only a couple minute process. For ours, it's consistent pressure across the whole wall for 16 to 18 minutes. Okay, and then here's the element you really don't get on the other processes is they suck the air out of the wall and create a real vacuum. Okay, it takes us longer. Okay, but we think it's important because it prevents the ability of delamination. Okay, delamination actually doesn't hurt your coach functionally, right? It's a bubble. It's where the exterior fiberglass is starting to separate from the wall a little bit. It just doesn't look pretty, right? And if someone makes an investment into a Jayco product, we don't want them to buy it and then all of a sudden have bubbles all around the outside of it. It'd just be like if you bought a brand new truck and it went through a hailstorm and you have dents all over it, right? It doesn't look pretty. We take pride in our ownership of things that we as consumers purchase. And the last thing we want is a bunch of bubbles on the outside. So yes, it takes us longer for how we laminate our walls, but it's going to prevent that. It's going to prevent the chances of a delam.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And that again, the vacuum bag lamination, vacuum lamination, that helps to the rigidity of the trailer itself. So you're getting the more cross members and outriggers, you get the vacuum body lamination. VBL. That's what I used to say.
VBL, there you go.
Then you get the Magnum Truss roof system. It's a big deal on the Jayco travel trailers. So cool deal on that. One thing I wanted to hit on is the 19 MRK. If you ever walk into one of these things, you guys obviously know the amount of counter space in this short dual axle Jay Feather is incredible. I mean, I don't know. And then you can pull the slide in with the bed down, correct?
Yeah. Yep. That is an absolute major design criteria too with our Murphy bed models, is that a lot of the competition, they'll shorten them up. We're usually a little bit longer if we have a similar floor plan, but we absolutely make sure that the slide, if it has a slide room, that slide room can come in with the bed down. And we've got one model where you have to kind of do a little crawling around to get to but we want to make sure you can get to the bathroom, the refrigerator, and sleep in the bed in our Murphy bed models.
Super awesome.
We always look at those things. Even our traditional coaches try to make sure we can get to a bathroom or a refrigerator while you're in transit. So we look at that absolutely with every floor plan.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that's part of the criteria, right? You're always trying to make sure they have accessibility to the bathroom and the refrigerator in the bedroom. But there's also other components where you're always trying to maximize the sizes of our windows and making sure we have good windows in our coaches and making sure we have good size awnings. So there's always things that John and his team, when they're designing product, there's they have a goal of making sure, hey, we want to try to make sure we can check all these off the list. Sometimes a certain floor plan won't allow it, and that's okay for certain floor plans. But for the most part, we want to make sure we're maximizing awning, maximizing window space, which are all tinted, by the way, too. A lot of manufacturers went away from tinted windows, which is going to cause privacy issues. UV rays coming through those windows, destroying the inside of the trailer is not going to be good. So there's multiple reasons of why you want to tint your windows. Okay, but then so there's just, I don't know, are there any other criteria?
Yeah, and even we've got blackout roller shades on all of our window treatments, and if you flip it up to the side that faces to the exterior, we have radiant barrier or reflective barrier on those
correct
shades, so it'll keep
on the backside of it.
Keep the UV out. So yeah, just a lot of little things that we do, and we just what we want to give the consumer the best product out there. Not all those things that he covered. We want to make sure we have the right features and things like that. But overall, like, I've just always been proud of our construction and safety features, because a family or a couple or even an individual, they're going to spend a lot of money purchasing an RV, and we want to make sure that the memories that they're about to make, they can make them for a long time in a Jayco branded unit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the Jayco is designed with comfort and convenience in mind. Really is. When you walk into one, you can feel the difference when you walk into a Jayco. They sit at the top of that industry for a reason, right? You walk into something similar at a price point that's similar, and you can tell that, like, no.
Yeah.
Personally, I've walked into several that's a similar price point as Jay Feather. I'm like, why would you not buy this?
Correct.
Personally, I'm a little biased with Jayco, but it's because I want high quality stuff. So
yeah, exactly.
So if you guys have nothing else to cover, I have a question for you.
Okay. What do you got?
Why would you not buy a Jayco? Why would a customer not buy a Jayco?
So usually what I say is the time that a customer may not buy a Jayco is maybe they don't like the look of it, right? Because some people like chocolate, some people like vanilla. So there's times where, it may not be for you. Okay. We try to build it pretty neutral, right? But there are times where the customer may just not like it, or the fact that maybe it is a couple of pounds heavier than what they feel comfortable towing. I think for the most part, we're really good at looking at our weights and making sure that we're staying within the tow ratings of vehicles, whether it's half ton or small SUVs. We're paying attention to that, but there may be times where we're just a little bit heavier, and maybe that concerns them. I don't know if that's the case particularly, but we do know that we can be a little bit heavier than the competition. And then also at the end of the day, floor plan is king, right? People, floor plan is really important, and maybe there's a floor plan with another brand that they really fell in love with. And I would say I think the industry does a good job at building good RVs across the board. We just think that there's some things we do differently to provide a better product for the customer.
John, what do you got?
I absolutely agree with Mark. Where I was going to hit on is, first of all, if they're shopping on your lot today, we just may not have that floor plan there, and maybe they're there to buy today. But
Gotcha.
One thing that I have found is that when we really educate our customers on the benefits of a Jayco and the construction and the things that we take pride in, a lot of times, wait a minute, we got a guest that all of a sudden
celebrity
came in.
guest.
Hang on a second.
Let's
Who's
hear
this guy?
We got someone from Bish.
That's Kyle Crumline.
Kyle.
That's one of our Bish's boys.
Yes, for sure.
You can of course cut this out, but I thought I would at least stop by since talking about everything Jayco. I'd chime in and say, hey.
All right, Kyle. Let's ask Kyle, John, and Mark. Why would you
Let's
not buy a Jayco?
Bad idea, but let's go.
Let's see what happens. It's a podcast. It's supposed to be a safe space, right?
Yeah. Kyle, you've been in the industry a little over a year now. You came under the inventory team. Why would you not buy a Jayco?
I don't like trick questions. I don't like trick questions.
We kind of talk more about like if there's a floor plan the customer doesn't like, or maybe they just don't like the look of it.
That's the thing, right? Like you talk about
Subjective.
It's so subjective when it comes
sure.
down to that. Your customer preference and things, right? Like, for example, if they come in, you look at the color coordination, which is a thing I think that Jayco does very well across their different models. That way it's not like you walk into two different models and you're seeing two different types of interiors. It's very cohesive, which makes it great for our dealerships as well as customers to understand. I know what I'm kind of walking into, but if you don't like, light colors, if you don't like what a typical purchaser likes, then guess what? You're not going to like some of these. If you're looking for green, fiber cloth interiors, it's not what you're going to find at Jayco. So I think it just comes down to some of those really subjective pieces that I know I couldn't answer because I like the fit and finish of the product. So I couldn't say why I wouldn't, but as far as why customers wouldn't, that's the only thing that really comes to mind for me as well.
Perfect. Well, with the floor plan being said, Jayco has a lot of floor plans.
Absolutely.
Like there's quite a few to choose from. So if you're looking at that one-off, like, oh, this one has a desk in it. Okay, well,
Yeah.
sorry, we don't have that, but like you can use the dinette as a desk, you know.
Correct.
But yeah, subjective one-off customers for the most part. Yeah, Jayco may not have that gold finish that they were looking for or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, we hear that at shows. You know, when there's a customer, they sit down, they're like, we really like the Jayco, but man, we just fell in love with this new unique floor plan that this other brand has. And it's like, that's kind of hard to overcome, because like, if you love the floor plan, and if it's a better brand, right, and maybe they have good quality, then maybe it's not a bad purchase for you. We do, like you said, we have a good lineup. We have all the core floor plans out there for sure. And then we have obviously some unique floor plans to us as well. But we can't build every floor plan out there, right? Because we are mass produced, and we got to make sure that the people on the production line know how to build them, right? And if we have too many floor plans, it just makes that a little bit more difficult, right? So
it can cause quality issues, and that's something that you don't have to worry about because of, you know, isolating your core models that make sense.
Correct.
That are, you know, majority of customers want to buy.
Correct. Yep. Exactly.
So, I'm going to step out, but nice to see you guys, and hey,
you gonna be around for a minute?
Yes, I'm still going to be around.
Yeah, good to see you, Jake.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you have any more for us, Jake. What do you got?
That's about it, man. You guys covered it. The Jay Feather model. It's you guys got your 10 points of your elevator pitch, which is great because it goes across all models in the Jayco lineup. Yep. And then we hit the Jay Feather, the design, the 19 MRK. They got the double axle shorter guys now, which is awesome. That came out like 23 though, right? But that's carrying on in 24.
Yeah, we started in model year 23.
The micros, yeah.
Correct.
But it was in model year 24 that we kind of got the full lineup out there that we wanted to get out.
Absolutely. And now we're getting into the airs, which I'm excited to see. I'm pretty pumped for that product. That's going to really open up another market for people.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, all I had was, I just want to say thank you for giving us the ability to do this, right? It's one of those where there's a lot of things we do differently at Jayco in our product, and we don't always get the ability to talk about that or for the customer to be able to see that. So I think this is going to help with that. Also, I just want to give you kudos for being kind of the leader in the industry to jump in and start a podcast, right? Like, I listen to podcasts all the time, right? And a lot of us do. And I've been thinking recently, like, I'm surprised we don't have some of that in the RV industry, and we do. And I think it's great for the RV industry, and I think it's going to allow retail customers to understand product better. So I think overall, it's just a really good thing.
Straight from the horse's mouth, you can hear the product design.
I would add one thing if I could, just because I know a lot of retail customers will be, watching these vlogs, and we the podcast. We absolutely appreciate our Jayco Nation of customers that have, generations bought our product and stood behind it with their families, and even the ones that will be coming into the family. We just truly appreciate you and can't say enough about it. Absolutely. Because they do spread the word. And when I say Jayco Nation, I mean that it is a thing.
Oh, yeah.
We have loyal customers,
very loyal customers, and that is something that we just absolutely love back here in Middlebury, for sure.
That's a great point.
I sold campers for 2 years out of Lincoln, Nebraska, and if someone bought a Jayco before, they're buying another one.
Yep.
It was a kind of cult following. Like, I bought a Jayco. I'm not leaving it. It was a great thing. It was an easier sale for me. I was like, all right, we're a Jayco dealer.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let me ask you this too. With that, like, how many customers did you have come in and say, "Hey, my grandparents had a Jayco. My parents had a Jayco.
Oh, yeah.
I camped in a Jayco as a kid, and that's what I want as a Jayco." And I know you've heard it. We hear it all the time at shows. We love to hear it. And so we got a lot of repeat business. We got a lot of business where customers, everybody in their family are buying Jaycos, and we do genuinely, like John said, we do truly, truly appreciate the business for sure.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that. You guys have been a top dog for 60 years, and there's no stopping it.
Absolutely. Yep. We got a lot of cool things coming out for model year change. John hit on some of that, but we're always trying to make sure we're innovating and advancing the product and moving the product forward to be able to put a better product out there in the marketplace for our customers.
Awesome, guys. Well, I'm going to do my quick little sign off. Jordan, is that everything? We good?
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Yeah,
Appreciate
for
it.
sure.
Hey,
Thank you for the
boo-boo.
time.
Yeah. Well, Mark and John, thank you so much for your time today. Everybody out there listening to this, I hope this gave you a lot of information. Please leave any questions you have in the comments because that helps us give you more information. So thank you so much. This is everything you need to know about a Jayco Jay Feather in 2024 and what's coming next with the Jay Feather lineup. So this is us at the RV Voice signing off for today. Have a good one, guys.